Welcome to the Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot Breakdown. Now that the meta has settled following the Boomsday nerfs, players are beginning to focus less on finding what archetypes are strong and more on how to refine their decks. The standard ladder responded with greater diversity in the absence of Giggling, Inventor, and Wyrm. However, Druid remains at the top of the ladder and will dominate for a while to come, unless the new expansion can change things. Let's get right into the first tier of the snapshot. Druid not only holds the spot as the best deck in the meta currently, but also has two other decks in the top tier. As of now, Druid makes up 60% of the Tier 1 decks on the Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot. The entire metagame is heavily influenced by Druid and its prevalent tools such as Spreading Plague, Ultimate Infestation, and Branching Paths, and thus the other top decks either counter Druid or prey on the decks that beat Druid. The best decks to take to ladder right now are Malygos Druid and Togwaggle Druid. Both decks are right near the top as they're very similar in having win conditions that are difficult to prevent. If you ask a pro player what deck they think is best, it's almost certain they'll answer with one of these two. All of the top Druid decks make use of the ramp package while also using all of Druid's other powerful tools. The other form of Druid that you may frequently encounter on ladder is Token Druid. While the deck did get hurt significantly from the Giggling Inventor nerf, the deck is back to focusing on running a Violet Teacher package and being less taunt-oriented. Token Druid is a bit weaker than the other forms of Druid, but the matchup spread is different as well. Instead of preying on even Warlock like Malygos Druid does, it finds itself struggling to win this matchup. In exchange, it does much better against Death Rattle Hunter, making it a good choice depending on what you're running into. Aside from Druid decks, there are also two others among the top tier. Death Rattle Hunter is one of the decks that people play in order to counter Malygos Druid. The large amount of 5/5s that can be summoned early, coupled alongside the pressure from Katharina, allows the Hunter to beat down the Druid and prevents them from focusing on assembling their combo. Death Rattle Hunter has a pretty tight list with not much room for changes aside from a few tech cards. When trying to beat slower decks, Savannah Highmane is included over Charged Devilsaur, as playing the card from hand is still a very real threat, whereas the Devilsaur is fairly weak in this case. The other choice that players typically make is how many mind control techs they want to run. Death Rattle Hunter wants to play against the decks that can't handle the large amounts of pressure that they put on, such as Druid. The bad matchups for Hunters are ones where they can typically ignore the Hunter's game plan and be aggressive. This makes Odd Paladin very favored in this matchup, for example. Time and time again, Odd Paladin finds itself slipping into Tier 1. While the deck has a fairly poor matchup against Druid decks due to Spreading Plague, the deck can usually find a way out of any bad situation. With the ability to high roll with cards such as Unidentified Maul and some hands being near unbeatable, Odd Paladin is a very well-rounded deck. As mentioned, Odd Paladin does struggle when running into swarms of Druids on the ladder, hence why a lot of players run Void Ripper. Another bad matchup that Paladin players can't really tech for is even Warlock. Due to the large amount of removal spells, board clears, and taunt minion in the Warlock's disposal, Paladin can't really ever stick enough meaningful minion pressure to close out the game. The meta feeling really diverse has sort of become the norm lately. While this makes the game more fun to play, it can be hard to gain a significant edge on the ladder. If you want to increase your win rate, a deck you should consider playing is Egg Paladin. Not only is the deck well-rounded, it has a very good matchup against Malygos Druid, making it a very good choice for ladder. Egg Paladin also has the added benefit of many players assuming you're Odd Paladin and thus mulliganing the wrong cards, giving you an advantage before the game even starts. The second tier on this list is very diverse and filled with many different decks and archetypes. With even Warlock leading the second tier, a lot of the decks that follow it are more aggressive ones. Decks such as Odd Rogue and Zulok remain strong decks that can always manage to find wins and thus remain decent, whereas more anti-control decks such as Shutterwalk Shaman or Taunt Druid are more like anti-meta decks. An interesting development in the meta is that Quest Rogue remains tier 2 despite the Giggling Inventor nerf. Unless Blizzard is to change the card again, it'll probably always remain a decent card that has an impact on the metagame. Even Paladin remains tier 2 as the deck is shaping up to be quite powerful. Several players had even Paladin in their lineup at DreamHack Atlanta, and some even reached top 16 with it, showing that the deck is no joke. While Druid may feel oppressive in the meta, the rest of it is very diverse and allows for several different playstyles to see play. This makes the game feel repetitive for some players, but much more rewarding for those who wish to innovate and try new things. With the standard ladder having so many different strategies, it can feel pretty difficult to face the ladder. Hopefully with this video, you feel a better understanding of the meta and are able to use it to your advantage. Thank you for watching our breakdown of this meta snapshot. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of Tempo Storm Hearthstone content. Have a wonderful week! Thanks for watching!